Hey everyone, welcome. This is the very first time we've ever come together to deliver Darren Daily Live, and we're so excited to have you here with us. I know a lot of you missed your Darren Daily this morning. I saw all your comments. Heck, even Darren missed his usual Darren Daily viewing as part of his morning routine. To help you with those feelings of FOMO, let me tell you why we're doing this. Darren and everyone here at the A-Team are so grateful for this vibrant and supportive community of passionately committed high achievers. We love seeing you here every weekday morning, showing up to ignite your minds and start your day right. We were thinking of how we could express our love and appreciation to all of you, and the idea came up to have Darren deliver Darren Daily Live. Originally, the idea was just to have him do the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, but then Darren suggested that if we're going to do it, let's do it and give more people the opportunity to ask your questions live. So that's what we're doing. And we couldn't be more thrilled to bring this to you and be here with you this morning or whatever time it is, wherever you are right now. Before we get started, I want to introduce myself. My name is Mariana, and I am the show producer of Darren Daily and Darren Daily On Demand. I also manage our YouTube channel and oversee all the video that comes through our organization. I've worked with Darren since back when he was the publisher and editorial director of Success. So, fun fact, I have worked with Darren as long as I've been married. I found out I got my first job with him at Success while on my honeymoon. Anyway, at Success, I facilitated all of Darren's interviews with the success leaders of our day and produced the CD that we bound into every issue of the magazine. I can hardly believe it was only a few years ago that we manufactured a CD and mailed it out to people so that they could have easy access to audio. Anyway, I absolutely love working with Darren and the A-Team. I wake up every morning excited and ready to start work. I know that everyone on the A-Team wants to push themselves to be more and do better, and they push me too, and we all have fun doing it. And most importantly, everyone on the team has a passion and love for the impact that we make through our work. We love celebrating your successes every week, and it's always inspiring and uplifting for me. Now, Darren also asked that I tell you a little bit about myself, so bear with me. Here goes nothing. I've been married to my husband, Trey, for 10 years. He's an emergency department nurse, and we live just outside of Dallas, Texas. We have a beautiful and zany little girl named Rose, who's 5 years old now, and she's a born negotiator. She can talk anyone into anything, and it's not just because she's cute. Seriously, I don't know where she gets it from. Another fun fact, and Darren finds this one rather comical, is that my husband and I are huge board gamers. And no, I don't mean Monopoly and Clue. We actually own over 1,000 board games, and we even attend several board gaming conventions with other board game enthusiasts all around the country and around the world. Okay. I think I've properly introduced myself now. I'm going to be your host for all 4 of our Darren Daily Live Thanksgiving JAM-BOREE sessions, and I'm also the one who selected the question for today's sessions that our guests will be posing to Darren. First off, let me be sure that Darren's here and that he's ready and his mentoring superpower is primed and ready to go. Darren?
I'm here. Can you hear me well? I got this new little audio set up here. Is it working?
Yep, sounds great.
Okay, awesome. Ready to go.
Okay. All right, so the first question I thought would be a good one to get us started because we just had an election here in the United States. And this question comes from Thalia Powell from South Carolina, who wasn't able to join us today. So I'm asking the question on her behalf. The question that Thalia has for you, Darren, is how do you help others find a positive mindset even during difficult times?
Yeah, okay. I think this is probably a great question to address, particularly right now. First off, hey, look, everybody, I know that everyone is anxious and worried about the fact that we might be rotting as a society. And it's true. If you look at the news headlines, if you listen to the political rhetoric, or if you click on all that outrage clickbait on social media and the interwebs, if you do, then yes, you would think that we are at each other's throats, that we have these radically opposing views and values, and that we are deeply divided as a culture. I mean, just how many times have we been told how deeply divided we are? But are we? The reality is, it's simply not true. We are just being played. The boring facts of the matter are this: we, by and large, agree on most important issues. I came across these stats recently. I will give you some for instances. These have been some of the hotly debated issues of recent. 3/4 of us believe that the government should expand its coverage of healthcare. 2/3 believe there should be stricter gun laws. 79% think abortion should be legal. 76% support investing in more education. 96% support investing in infrastructure improvements. 76% say racism continues to be a big problem. 75% say it is important to promote more racial and ethnic diversity. 2/3 sees China as a threat, and 83% of Americans believe the U.S. should continue to invest resources to remain the world's majority or major military power. So those are massive majorities, not 50-50 or even 60-40, but those that are dependent on your emotional engagement. They shine a spotlight on those that are in the minority, and that is what occupies the majority of our attention. The spotlight on those fist-pumping rallies of a few thousand that are within a city of several million. The spotlight on a few streets in downtown Portland in a city of 653,000. The spotlight on protests of a few hundred in the middle of cities of a few million. So yes, it is easy to start thinking that the minority is the majority, but it is not. Understand this, everybody. Most people are mostly good, decent, smart, caring, and compassionate. The problem is most people are also fearful, insecure, naive, lazy, and selfish. We are both those things, all of us. So, to the point of your question, Thalia, we become more of what we give more attention to. Here's how we work. Inside our nature is both light and darkness. We all have the capacity for great love, heroism, and contribution. We also have the capacity for great evil, destruction, and viciousness. All of us. And don't think that any of you are immune to this, as my mentor Jim Rohn would instruct. So now, therefore, our job is to drive the dark side of our nature into the smallest corner possible, and to do all that we can to shine a light on and to amplify the light side of our nature. And you don't ever actually rid yourself of this darkness, but you can drive it into a small crevice. And doing so requires that we take proactive effort to do so, particularly when you are surrounded by so much darkness, temptation, clickbait. So Thalia, and everybody else here, it is important that you understand what you are up against, to understand the game that you are in and how you are being played. When you have both light and darkness in the human soul, the problem with our current culture and society is all the tools around us are optimized to amplify our darkness. Get this. The fundraising for the 2020 presidential campaign race smashed all previous records. It was the most expensive campaign in history, topping over $10 billion spent. The total was only $7 billion in 2016, $6 billion in 2012, $5 billion in 2008. Now, I ask you, who got the majority of that money raised? Where was the majority of that raised money spent? Yeah, on media. But bloody political campaigns are like Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa, all wrapped into one joyous holiday season for media. You already know that media makes their money from your attention, and your attention is drawn by fear, danger, corruption, controversy, crisis, scandal, and all the other attractive factors of our dark nature. It is hard to resist danger alert was wired into our threat alert system for hundreds of thousands of years. It is known that we pay 10 times more attention to negative information than we do positive information. And so for that reason, every news source is putting out 10 times more negative stories than positive. And social media suggestion engines is optimizing for it. It is purely a matter of economics. Capturing our attention equals ad revenue. That is why if it bleeds, it leads. So now, during a political campaign, oh wow, now they are in direct control of both ends of the spectrum. The advertisers and the attention of the populace on the same issues now. The more they stir up the outrage of the populace, the more the advertiser, the political candidates, can raise and then spend on media to bash that outrageously horrible opponent media has painted them to be. Do you see the incentive here for media? Yeah, to dial up the divisiveness, the controversy, the anger, the fear, the worry, the polarization, because the worse it gets, the better it is for them, for attention and for advertising dollars. I just got these stats here this morning. Since March of this year, the beginning of this pandemic, news channel viewership skyrocketed. CNN was up 156% year over year. Fox News Channel 51%, MSNBC 26%, CNN jumped 107% in total day viewership. On top of that, the sports viewership didn't deliver as usual. So then what do these networks do? They triple down on controversial news. So it is true. The dark side of our nature has been jacked up and amplified. Media has done a terrific job feeding our divisiveness, our anger, our fear, and our disagreements. But realize this, it is not who we are as people and as a populace. As people, we are mostly good, but we must stop feeding the dark side of our nature. I've told you the Cherokee tale before. Inside each of us is both a good wolf and a bad wolf. The good wolf is kind and loving and caring and generous. And the bad wolf is evil, hateful, vicious, and selfish. These two wolves are in an epic battle for the dominance of your soul. And the one who will win is the one you feed. When you feed the bad wolf, you make it stronger and more dominant in your spirit. You feed it too much and it eventually can even overtake and devour the good wolf. And then your life is filled with anger and outrage and fear and insecurity and depression and sleeplessness and unhappiness. So what do you do, Thalia and everybody else here? Please stop feeding your bad wolf. Turn away from the manipulations of media. That's news media, that's social media. And this is really especially true of social media, by the way. If you haven't watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix, I highly recommend that you do so to understand how these platforms really work and how they are working you over. And realize as a populace, as a society, the puppeteers with their media tools would have us believe that we are deeply divided. But we do align and agree on most things. We need to stop fighting from the extremes of what we disagree on and come together on the majority of what we do agree on to get some shiitake done. And now, I'm not just talking about the fact that they're divided in Washington. I'm talking about your own office, your own neighborhood, and your own family. You never have to agree with somebody 100%. I mean, hey, look, we're all 20% crazy. You want to embrace, love, and enjoy somebody's 80% and just let the 20% be. As Jim would tell you, turn frustration with that 20% into fascination. Just say, oh, really? That's what you believe? That's what you support? Well, ain't that fascinating, right? I mean, trust me, they're having to accept the 20% of you that's cray-cray too. We are all beautifully flawsome human beings. That's what makes us so fun and adorable. We are all flawed and wacky. So I know that that is more of an answer than you bargained for, Thalia, and everybody else, but I feel that it is important to bring us back to the center, to bring us back into proper perspective, that we are not as divided as it seems. The world is not as negative and as difficult as it's painted to be. People are mostly good and decent, and we want the same things. And it is your job to simply turn away from the sources who want to exploit and amplify the dark side of our nature, and to focus your attention and the attention of those that you lead to those things that amplify the light side of our nature. This is why we do what we do for you here at Darren Hardy LLC, to be that one beacon of hope, of possibility, to shine a light on what's right with the world. Through the fog of all that fear, worry, and discouragement, we will be that guiding light to show you the way forward to your better you, your better future, right? Better every day. Okay, back to you, Mariana.
All right, awesome, Darren. So the next Darren Daily member that we're going to meet is John Gluch. Let me bring John on here.
Hey, what's going on?
All right, John. So why don't you introduce yourself, tell us where you're coming from, and then pose your question to Darren.
All right, thanks for having me on today. Good to see you. I am in La Jolla, California. My name is John Gluch, and I run a real estate team here in San Diego now and in Phoenix. And since I run a team, one of the things that I love is personal growth, personal development. Been a big fan of yours, Darren, for years now. And one thing that gets frustrating as a leader of a team is not everybody on the team has that same passion and excitement for personal growth, for learning and growing as people. And so I'd love to know from you, what can I do as a leader to foster an environment and a culture where people are as excited and motivated as I am about personal development and about growth as people? It's something I've really struggled with, would love some advice on.
That's a great question, John. Good to see you. Good to see you live. Thanks for coming on with us. So, John, all of us who are committed to personal growth, we always assume that everybody else would be equally interested as well. But having been in the success media industry now for 25 years, I can tell you firsthand, they aren't. Most people just are not. In fact, a very small percentage of people are, which is why we call them the exception. When Publisher of Success, we'd stick our magazine on the news rack, assuming that it would fly off the shelves. It says right at the top, the one thing everybody wants without question: success. Do they want Car and Driver? Do they want Field and Stream? Do they want National Geographic or Cosmopolitan or Red Book? Right? But certainly everybody wants success, so it should be an easy choice. But no, only a fraction of a fraction picked success by comparison. You find out quickly that self-improvement, personal growth, a proactive interest in learning to become more successful is not a mainstream interest. In fact, it is so small, it is actually called an enthusiast category in the publishing world. More like the magazine's Wine Spectator or Cigar Aficionado, both of which, by the way, have larger circulation numbers than Success. I tell you that to explain. It is important first to understand the nature of who we are. We are not normally growth oriented, even if you and I and those here on Darren Daily are. People have to be pushed to grow, mostly. They have to be led. This is why even elite achievers and teams have coaches. They need them to push them to grow, to run more sprints than they would without them, to do more drills, to practice harder than they would. On their own, they're unlikely to do those relentless fire drill wind sprints or those awful bear crawls or those gut buster drills. So, number one, it takes a leader setting the pace, being the example, leading from the front, which I know you do a great job, John. Number two, people need a curriculum, a specific plan, a challenge, something specifically outlined, a program. This is why people sign up for fitness challenges and then immediately drop off after they're over. They train for a half marathon. They do the half marathon and then they don't run anymore, or they run very little. a program has to be long enough for the development to actually sink in. And number three, ideally, the personal growth, the training, and the pushing is not delivered by you, their persistent leader, but delivered by a third party. I've talked about this before, but you as their leader suffer what is called the law of familiarity. They mostly stop listening to you, or let's just say they get a bit tired of listening to you and being pushed by you. But when a credible third party says exactly the same thing you might be saying, all of a sudden they have all these fantastic epiphanies. This is why it has been so hard for parents having to be their kids' teachers in this pandemic era. They already don't listen to you about their chores and home behavior, and now you're pushing them in math and to do their essay. They really do need an outside teacher for that. So you could still be their mom and dad, and their teacher and sports coach is somebody else. You see, all these factors is why I set up the hero's journey the way I did, to help you solve these growth culture challenges. Number one, a specific curriculum to follow, to keep your people engaged in a planned process. You don't have to think about the program, you don't have to think about the plan, you don't have to think about their personal development for an entire year. I've done all that design work for you. And then number two, it's not delivered by you. I do all the work of driving and pushing and teaching and training. You get to keep your role and relationship with them focused on the business at hand, and I will push them in the field of leadership growth. And then number three, you get to go through the process with them, which helps you be the excellent example that you need to be, facilitating all these great and engaging discussions without having to do any of the design work or having it have to come from you. You have the facilitator's guide, which I have one right here, right? You've got the golden tablet, and all you have to do is just lead them through it step by step. So I hope that helps you. Those three factors to create that growth culture that you seek. Okay, back to you, Mariana.
Awesome. Okay, this is really fun. So let's keep the fun going. But this is our last question for this session, and it comes from Chris Turner. So let me bring Chris on 1 second. Welcome, Chris. Good to see you.
Hey there.
So please tell us where you're joining us from and then present your question to Darren.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. I'm broadcasting from Arkansas, but I live in Sandy Springs, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. And I really appreciate you taking my question. It's a privilege to be out here with you. And Mariana and the rest of your A team, you guys do a great job presenting all this awesome free content for us every day. So thanks for that. So my question is around using the different tools that I have sort of at my disposal. Sometimes I feel like I get so focused on using the actual tool correctly that I lose sight of the task ultimately. So whether it's writing in my Darren Daily journal every day, or my Living Your Best Year Ever journal, or rinsing and repeating all the modules in Insane Productivity, or all the free resources you give with the Compound Effect and the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. And now, as you just mentioned, the Hero's Journey that's coming up in January that I'm joining you on. I'm super stoked about that. And hopefully the High Performance Forum that I was supposed to attend this year, hopefully it'll be rescheduled for next year. Basically, I have all these tools at my fingertips. How do I leverage them together properly to ultimately achieve my objectives?
Great. Well, I appreciate your commitment to all the growth and development you're doing with us. So first of all, thank you very much for that. And it's a great question. Just remember that I built these tools for me. So they do all work together beautifully. In some cases, it just depends on what stage of growth and development you are in and what it is that you're focused on growing and improving in. But just to kind of give you a quick outline, because while it might sound a lot if you just list them out real quickly, it's not actually a lot of what it is that we deliver. It's very specific for very specific purposes. So the compound effect, which then leads into Jumpstart so that it could be integrated so that you could actually apply what you learn with the principles of the compound effect. That's really about changing your mindset, changing your behavior, your habits, changing your lifestyle. And then you start applying that by using the Living Your Best Year Ever. That's how you track your behavior, and that leads to habits and then the results in doing so. Okay, so that's more about lifestyle, mindset, behavior, and habit change. Insane Productivity is about radically accelerating your personal productivity. So this goes beyond behavior. This goes into work methodologies and personal structure strategies. And then you apply and hold yourself accountable by using the Living Your Best Year Ever, right? So it's got the Sunday planning system in there. It's got the plan, do, review process of setting up your week. It's got your goals. It's got your achievement management system. So you're using that as a tool of applying your insane productivity structure and strategies. Now, Darren Daily is just about keeping your glass clear, right? Flushing the dirty water that the world will throw into your glass on a day-over-day basis. It's about keeping your mind inspired. It's about kickstarting your day and then just looking for those small iterative improvements that then accumulated over time compound into transformative results. So it's just that daily little kickstart. And then your Darren Daily Journal is just logging your ideas, right? Just tracking your improvement plan from what has inspired your mind in the morning. Real simple, just getting it out of your head and onto paper. Now, the hero's journey is about developing you into a modern leader for these new modern times, to become a positively influencing impact maker. So it's going from an individual producer, which Insane Productivity teaches you to be, to a leader of others. And that's a very, very, very different skill set, and it has to be learned. It's growing you into an emotionally intelligent, which is needed now more than ever because of the diversity of our culture, our globalization, the ethnic minority that's become the majority, the 5 generations we've got in the workplace at the same time, how to be persuasive, how to be positively affecting as a leader of others. Now, the HPF Business Masterclass is really only for those business leaders and owners of $1 million business or more, which are percentage-wise very, very few. Those that are looking to scale a high-performance enterprise. It's focused on breakthrough sales and marketing strategies, right? How to recruit top talent and scale a sustainable hyper-growth enterprise. Okay, so it's more on the business building, marketing, sales, and recruitment side. Now, if you're not ready for HPF, then the compound of the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster book, and then the eFast Pass course, which incorporates the principles of the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster into your life, that will help you if you're in a startup phase of a business, or you're growing a business, or you're self-employed, or you're an independent contractor, and that's what that's for. And that's it. That's all we offer. So I know that you need it all. But you only need it at different times of your growth and development, or what it is that you're looking to focus on at that time. So if you desire to be the exception and to be an exceptional achiever, and what I recommend for you now, because we're going to do this special, this founding group, this inaugural launch of the Hero's Journey, is likely the only time that I will do it live. And this will be the founding group, and basically the whole curriculum structure will end up coming out of the experience that the founding group has. I highly recommend to be sure that you're part of our Hero's Journey. And I know, Chris, you already are, which is awesome. But if those of you that are listening right now don't know much about the Hero's Journey, or you've heard about it and you've been thinking about it, I recommend that you get on board now. We have to limit the size of the group. We kick off January 5th, and we're going to be doing it together like this live. 42 sessions over 2021. So if you want to spend an entire year together taking you through the most epic learning journey of your life, that's what you want to do. I promise it will be one of the most important things that you do in your lifetime to transform you into the leader that you need to be for those counting on you. And I don't care whether you think you're a leader, you have a title of leadership. Trust me, we're a social animal species. If you're a parent, if you have a peer group, if you attend a church group, you are an influencer. Learning how to be a positive impact maker within those circles is what the Hero's Journey is all about, growing you into, particularly for the challenges of our modern times. Okay, back to you, Mariana.
Thanks, Darren. All right. Was that fun, everybody? I really enjoyed our first live session with Darren. I hope you got as much out of it as I did. And I want to remind you that each of our Darren Dailies expires in 72 hours. So a recording of this session will be available immediately, and it will be here for the next 72 hours. So if you want to forward it to somebody or share it with someone you love, we really hope you do that. Also, we'll be right back here on the Darren Daily Set tomorrow morning, as always. And then next Wednesday, we'll be back here again for our second Darren Daily Live Thanksgiving JAM-BOREE. 10 a.m. Pacific will be our start time, and the sessions will be recorded and immediately available just like today. So with that, I hope everyone has a terrific day, and we'll see you next time.